Warhammer and Curry. I told you, I did that, like, on purpose. Orion laughed, his purple hair bright against the green folds of his cloak. Sure you did. Excuse me, Zack said. Everyone loved my handstand in mid-air. Abseiling down a 100-metre cliff is more difficult than it looks. It had been one of the activities at Zack's scout camp. All had been going well until his feet had slipped and he'd ended up upside down in mid-air. Zack didn't know why Orion was laughing. He'd taken one look at the rock face and had hidden in Zack's bag. To be fair, you'd laughed it off by the time your Converse had touched the ground, Orion said. Not many kids would have done that. Stalking along the desk, the warrior flexed his muscles, and Zack resisted the urge to roll his eyes. Orion had first spoken to him months ago to complain about his paint job. Apparently, it was perfectly reasonable for the Warhammer figure to come to life if the colour of his hair wasn't exactly to his liking. Zack watched as Orion leapt on top of his maths textbook, scowling at the numbers and multiplication signs dotting the red cover. He prodded at it with his spear, smirking with satisfaction when the steel tip pierced through the number 3. Zack chewed his lip. Would he have been proud? Like Dad, I mean. The warrior's face softened as Zack glanced at the picture that stood next to his bed. His dad had his arm wrapped around him. His mouth was half open in laughter, his eyes sparkling at Zack, who had 2 breadsticks shoved up his nose. He'd passed away a couple of years ago, when Zack had been 8. He would have been so proud of you, Zack. I miss him. Hot tears prickled at his eyes as he willed himself not to cry. You loved each other very much, Orion nodded. Even when he bought me, he was busy telling the store assistant about how fantastic you were. The warrior pulled a tissue from the grey box beside him. It threatened to smother him as he tried to tug it loose. Zack grabbed it before Orion could hack it to pieces. It's perfectly okay to cry, Orion said, but you should also think about what you've achieved recently. He leapt towards a magnificent trophy, proudly placed in the middle of the desk. The gold metal glinted in the evening sunlight, the plaque inscribed with Zack's name and the title, Positive Choices and Achievements Award. The warrior swung from the handle, contorting his face into a grimace and sticking out a blue tongue. Your foster parents nominated you for a reason, Zack. You've become so much more independent. Zack picked up the trophy, letting Orion jump onto his shoulder as he hugged it to his chest. His face peeping out from behind Zack's ear, the warrior clung to the red fabric of his t-shirt. It was so difficult walking up to that stage without him. What's the point of winning these things if Dad... The rest of the sentence was cut off by a loud trumpeting sound. Orion's magnificent hunting horn. When Zack thought he'd almost completely deafened, the warrior stopped, still stamping his feet in process. Listen to me, Orion said firmly. Your dad is always watching over you, and he will always be with you. It's your superpower. Zack frowned, rubbing his ear in complaint. Orion clung to his palm, demanding to be lifted down onto Zack's hand. I don't understand. He might not be here physically, Orion said, but he's still looking over your shoulder, smiling at you just like I was then. If you need a helping hand, he'll be there. Zack stared into the warrior's kind green eyes. He'd never noticed it before, but he had painted them the exact colour of his dad's. Maybe you're right. Glancing back at the picture, Zack's face broke into a small smile. We're going for curry tonight. Your dad's favourite. He used to get so excited whenever you ordered takeout. The warrior gently reached up to wipe the tears from his cheeks as Zack laughed. He used to steal half of mine. Zack! His foster mum called from the bottom of the stairs. Are you ready? Are we ready? He grinned at Orion. The warrior raised his spear triumphantly. For curry, always! As Zack ran to join his foster family, he could almost feel his dad looking down at him. Whether Zack was painting Warhammer figures or falling down rock faces, he knew his dad would be smiling over his shoulder.